Moving to 3, I'm shutting off. Ready? I have turned the breakers off. At your service valve so that nothing is going into your water heater. Open the cold side to drain the water out of the tankless heater. Nothing should come out because you have the shut-off valves to these closed. Since they're in a perpendicular position, that means there should be no connection between the hose cap and the water. You can remove both of them because you'll be needing them both. Okay. Connect your return line hose to the cold side of the water heater. Open your shut-off valve that goes to the service valve to drain the water that's in the water heater out. Install your hose with the 2 connections onto the hot water shut-off valve with the shut-off closed. Hold the other end of your hot water shut-off valve connector hose with 2 connectors to the output from your pump. Then open the hot side valve. Allow the water to drain. The rest of the house plumbing is isolated from the hot water heater, and the hot water heater is hooked only to this bucket and the pump and the 2 lines. So we're going to force water from we're going to force vinegar from the bucket through the pump into the output of the hot water heater, through the water heater and out of the inlet of the water heater in order to back flush any particles that have been contaminating it from the water supply and production process. Fill your bucket with vinegar until it gets approximately halfway up your pump. Begin your water pump, it will immediately begin pumping whatever fluid it's connected to. Looks like 1 gallon is going to be just right. Note all of the fine frothiness, which is actually the little tiny bubbles in the vinegar being shoved through the plumbing, and all the small pores in the water heater through the hoses and the pump. The pump is blending air with it because it's going through there at that rate. The longer that it runs, we'll check back. It takes approximately 45 minutes in order for it to complete 1 backflush cycle. Of critical importance is to check for leaks at your connections, because a spray of vinegar all through your bathroom may irritate you for days or possibly weeks. Any lime or scale that comes through your water heater will stick on the fins that are inside on the heating element and cause it to be less and less and less efficient until the water flow is restricted and it will overheat and ruin. So by running the water through the water heater backwards, it flushes all of the lime and scale particles and any contaminants back into the base of your bucket. As you can see now, the vinegar is already much clearer than it was when you first ignited the pump. So the purpose of this is called a back flush, because you push everything backwards through it and it flushes whatever material that got stuck in it out. And most of the time the heavier particles will stay in the bottom of your bucket. And the vinegar treats it like much like you would a coffee maker or anything else to kind of sterilize it, we'll call it. At the 45-minute mark, unplug your pump to stop the circulation. You can hear the vinegar draining from the pump back down, draining from the tank back down into the bucket.
Okay. Last drop.
Okay. And next we're going to close the valves.
Yeah.
And close the valves to the bypass. We're going to drain and filter the bucket and save our vinegar to reuse another time. And then we're going to put water in the bucket and run another circulation for a couple of minutes to flush the vinegar out of the heater.
Yeah.
Unscrew your connection to the pump. We have drained the vinegar from the tub and we've refilled it with tap water. We will reconnect our hoses to the pump and the drain to the bucket. Open the valves to the water heater. Insert the plug for power.
4 minutes later, we unplugged the pump.
At this point, you are ready to disconnect your hoses. But first, shut the bypass valves before you disconnect your hoses. Replace your caps. Turn your water valves back on. Lead the air, any air from the system by opening the closest faucet. Opening the hot water on the closest faucet. You will hear a lot of bubbles. That's the air that was trapped inside of the water heater when you turn the valves back on. The air that was trapped inside the water heater when you turn the water back on. And the water is pushing the air through the line, through the closest fixture. Breaker's back on. Go back to your closest faucet. Turn the hot water on again. You'll have some residual vinegar smell from the first time that it heats. Then dump the bucket of water and store your hoses and pump safely somewhere, and just remember, it's just that easy.